I am having an affair with our maid. My wife has caught me, but there is something strange about the entire situation. My wife and I are both working people. I work in an IT job and she is a budding lawyer. You can imagine that we run on a tight schedule and that leaves little to no time for household chores. We live in a 2 BHK apartment in Bangalore, and we had fired our old maid 2 weeks ago as she kept on taking leaves without giving us any notice. So that made us venture into the job search for a new maid. After 1 month of asking around, my wife found Bindu. Our neighbor in apartment 103B had recommended her to my wife, and needless to say, the moment I had laid my eyes upon Bindu, I realized that my wife looked like a leprechaun standing next to her. Bindu's fair skin, her beautiful eyes and face, her slim build, all just took me in when I saw her. I wanted to feel some guilt about it, but honestly, can you blame a guy for getting attracted to a beauty like that? So I decided to have an affair with Bindu. My wife would not have noticed anyways since I work from home and she goes to the local court. Slowly over a week I built a rapport with Bindu, and by her blushing gestures I guessed that she liked me too. I first initiated a kiss with Bindu during a Tuesday evening 2 weeks after we had hired her, but unfortunately that happened to be the last time. We were both sitting on a sofa, leaning in close, but suddenly I heard the door to our house being opened and my wife walked into the living room and caught us in the act. I immediately broke apart and backed into a corner, while listening to my wife screaming at Bindu for seducing her husband, and plenty of other things that are not relevant to the story. But the strangest insult that my wife repeatedly hurled at Bindu was calling her an old hag. By Bindu's looks alone, that insult was weird. Later that evening, after a lot of apologizing, my wife forgave me. I found it weird as she was not that forgiving generally, but I let it go since I needed to preserve my marriage. But one thing remained stuck in my mind. Why did you call Bindu an old hag? She is rather young, is she not? I queried with my wife. What the hell are you talking about? Is your brain okay? She is old enough to be your grandmother. She has wrinkly skin and white hair, and it looks like her knees will give out any time these days. I had no reply to that. I felt like this incident had hit my wife so hard that she was simply delusional now. But anyways, I am going to stop the affair. It is not worth ruining my marriage over. And explaining the whole situation to my parents would be worse as they think of me as their well-behaved and traditional son. We also decided to continue keeping Bindu around, as losing a maid in this economy was not worth it over one indiscretion. This first weird incident with my wife over Bindu's looks just seemed like a product of the shocking situation she was in. But my wife kept on making more and more bizarre claims as time passed. The second incident happened over a disagreement over our son. Just yesterday, Bindu was singing a beautiful lullaby to our 1-year-old, and she kept on singing for 4 hours, just sitting in one place while gently rocking the red cradle. I remember going for a nap at 1 p.m. and waking up at 4 p.m., and she was sitting at the exact same place singing the same words over and over. Oh, little baby, you are so cute. We will drown you in a well. The lyrics may seem alarming, but that was just because she was from a village nearby, and villages have odd lyrical lullabies. In my sleepy state after I had woken up, I hallucinated for 1 minute straight, because I kept on looking at Bindu's feet and they were turned backward. I rubbed my eyes after that and they had turned to normal. Fronted my wife about not taking care of our son. After all, Bindu was obviously taking better care of him than me. But she looked at me like I was crazy. We have no son, and we really need to get you checked with a doctor. What? We have a 1-year-old, how could you forget? And you should pay more attention to him. Bindu sang a lullaby to him for 4 hours straight today. She takes way better care of him than you do. Ugh, I'm taking a divorce from you. You seem to be hallucinating things that are not there. And another thing, Bindu took a leave today. She sent me a message on WhatsApp. So whatever it was you keep on seeing, it is not Bindu. It is just your brain going schizophrenic. But we have a son together. How could you just forget about him? My brain happened to stick upon that question because that seemed like the most important thing right then, among the abnormal incidents around our house and my wife's losing grip on reality. Because seriously, making lies around our maid was one thing, but lying about our son? That was a new low. Oh, really? Then tell me the name of this son you keep on talking about. What does he look like? What is his birth date? Where is he right now? Because I don't see any 1-year-old babies around here, and where is his toy box? His cradle? My wife queried with a raised eyebrow. I opened my mouth to answer that question, and my mouth kept on stretching wide for a minute. I tried to remember these details, but my mind could not recall these things. My wife kept on looking at me with a mixture of anger and nervousness as she had been proven right. I finally managed to close my mouth and huffed as I went to sleep. She was going to sleep in the other bedroom, not wanting to be around me. The third weird incident happened when my wife tearfully told me that she was going to leave the house, as she saw Bindu crawling on all fours on the walls in my bedroom last night. I once again told my wife that she was crazy. It was true that I had secretly called Bindu to our home last night at 1 a.m. to take care of our crying son in the living room, as my wife had locked her bedroom door to sleep and apparently did not care for him at all. But he stopped making a racket after 15 minutes of Bindu singing her signature lullaby to him and rocking his red cradle. She really was a good caretaker of my child. I slept soundly after that. I told my wife as such, and she screamed at me. We do not have a child. I think we have invited a Chudail into our house. If you want to live, get out of the house already. She ran outside our home sobbing after that, taking her luggage with her. For those who do not know, a Chudail is the Indian equivalent of a creepy witch like the ones you see in the movie The Ring, except her trademark is that her feet are backward. I wondered if my wife would ever regain her grip on her sanity back since Bindu is no Chudail. I tried to remember what happened last night, so that I can collect some solid proof that my wife is crazy, and that I am sane. Because the events in my home are making me question my sanity. I checked my call log and WhatsApp messages, hoping to find some proof that I called her to take care of our son, but there was nothing. In fact, Bindu's contact details were nowhere on my phone. I am getting frustrated now. I had somehow fallen asleep immediately after checking Bindu's contact details, and now I have woken up. It is 1 at night right now, and my son is crying in the living room in his red cradle. It looks like I need to call Bindu again.